Hi everybody, it's me. I'm here in Beijing, China, as you can see. I am actually, some of the smog is going away, so I'm actually able to see some of the buildings now. And I'm just hanging out. I'm here visiting a friend of mine who lives here, and she's at work today, so I could get over my jet lag. I'm sorry if I have circles under my eyes because I definitely haven't been sleeping very good the last few days. But I wanted to do my blog post from here for this week. I guess actually, if you're watching this blog post, you're going to see it next week on Wednesday. But I really wanted to tell you guys a little about my story and how I became a photographer, what inspired me to start a business, and what my background is. Because I get a lot of questions about this a lot, and I know a lot of you are here on Photography Awesome Sauce because you're like me and you didn't get a degree in what we do. So, basically, what inspired me to start a business was really nothing. I wasn't inspired to start a business. I graduated college with a degree in K through 12 art education. So I have my Colorado State teaching license. I was going to teach art. I took one film photography class in college. I took no photography classes before that. And my photography teacher, he was a tough guy, but he actually said I was pretty good, and I was like, whatever. I told him that I was going to get my specialization in painting over photography because as an art teacher in school, we had to pick what we had to specialize in, and I thought painting would be cheaper than buying a DSLR. But it turns out oil painting is not cheaper than buying a DSLR, and he was probably right all along. But after I graduated college, I decided at that point I didn't want to be an art teacher, and I wasn't really sure where I wanted to be or what I wanted to end up doing. So I got a job teaching preschool, and I taught preschool for quite a while. I worked my way up and was offered a position to be an assistant director at a school. And I started training for that, and things were going great. But the school that I was at was not an awesome school. I won't spend my time downing the company that it is, but things just weren't working out, and I really wasn't the kind of person who would back out of any job. I thought I was really, really tough, but this job was so hard, and the people that I was working with were so hard to deal with that I would come home and I was just crying every single day. And so I knew I had to quit. And so I did quit. And what I ended up doing was I decided that I just needed a break from trying to be this director and be in preschool. It was so stressful and so hectic. I wanted a job that I thought would be easy and just something I could do for a year and, essentially take a year off and not have to worry about anything. So I took the year off by being a nanny. And what happened is not not even months after, but within 2 weeks of quitting my job teaching preschool, I decided I wanted to be a photographer. And I don't think I knew what I was getting into. I definitely had no idea that I would end up here, but I thought, well, I'll just play around with my camera and see what happens. My husband had given me a nicer camera several years before, just because with painting, I did a lot of painting in my free time, and I really liked to paint trees, and I still do. And so I took a lot of photos for reference to paint trees, and so that was important that I had a nicer camera to do that. So I had this nice camera, and I just started taking pictures of people, and I started building my portfolio. I contacted all of my friends on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I need subjects to practice on. I'm going to try and do this photography thing. And I was so thankful that I had really awesome and nice friends who let me take pictures of their babies and, their engagements and just as couples and people. And even though they weren't the best photos, but I was really proud of the work that I was doing. And my friends were awesome to support me and want to help me out, knowing that they weren't going to get very great photos from me. So that's really how my business started. And it ended up being an accident. It really grew into something where I didn't know what I was doing. I had zero formal training. I have no training in business other than my experiences in the corporate workplace, in college and after college, working as managers and supervisors. But, it's, it's where I ended up. And I think along the way, I really fell in love with photography. And so after a while with my nanny gig, I just kept cutting back the hours more and more and more until I was able to go full time. Because to be honest, my business kept building up so much that I couldn't actually have time to do other things. The first couple of years of my business were actually really hard too, because I spent a lot of time working full time and taking care of other people's kids, which is not an easy job, and coming home, doing whatever I could to network, edit photos, just get people in the door, shooting portfolio sessions for free just so I could practice. And so I would come home after a long day and work more, and I was staying up late, I was getting up early, and eventually it all panned out to the point where now I can work less and make more, and that's what I love about my job. Um, so with photography business, I've been doing this about 4 to 5 years now. But a lot of you guys want to know about photography awesome sauce and how that came about. That was an accident too. I was just getting so many questions from you guys on my photography business page saying, hey, how did you get that look in that photo? And how did you do this? And can you help me find contracts? And I was answering questions so much that I started to realize I was spending an hour a day answering emails and Facebook questions, and I didn't want to be that photographer who turned people away. I wanted to help, and I did go to school to teach art, and so it is something that I like. I love to share my knowledge with other people, and I love to teach. It's very important to me. And with Photography Awesome Sauce, it didn't take me very long to realize that I could have my passion for photography and my passion for teaching combine, and that it would be the best of both worlds. So I do kind of use my degree. um, but I love teaching and I love sharing things with you guys. So Photography Awesome Sauce kind of happened on its own. And as to where the future goes, I really have no idea because I never planned to be here, but I worked very hard to get here. Part of me says that being a wedding photographer isn't forever because brides are always in their 20s and young, and photographers will get old and maybe we won't be as hip. So I don't know how long I'll be able to shoot weddings and portraits, or maybe early retirement is in the cards because after 45 I just won't be hip enough to be a wedding photographer. But Photography Awesome Sauce is something that I'm hoping to continue on for as long as I can because I enjoy it and I like you guys. So that's my story. I don't know if you guys have questions about what cameras I started with and how I learned, but feel free to ask them in the comments or shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to help you guys. I guess you can already tell that everything I learned was pretty much self-taught, but I hope you guys are having a great time back in whatever parts of the world you're in, and if as you're watching this, I'm probably sleeping or out somewhere or on the Great Wall of China having a great time. So I'll see you guys next week.